This show is part of the RetroZap.com podcast network.
Hi, this is Joey, and this is my real voice. I'm serious. Today's show brought to you by TeePublic. Go to the Animanicast TeePublic store by going to teepublic.animanicast.com today. You better do it, or else my voice will be like this forever. Help me. Bye.
And welcome, everybody, to episode 96 of the Animanicast.
Hey, look! It says LADOT on the side of the bus! They put my name there! Boy, does this town love me or what?
Excuse me, Dot, but...
LADOT, LADOT, that's the sign that the bus has got. Written up where everyone can see me. LADOT spells LADOT. Who'd have thought the one so cute could be this hot? The Metro line has built a sign for me. When I go walking down the street, all the folks I chance to meet wave and smile and throw a fuss, 'cause I'm the girl whose name's on the Metro bus. And no one else has that spot. Meryl Streep and Cher do not. Madonna, she is totally not. No, the only name there's LADOT. 'Cause I'm the best, still I'm floored. Who'd have guessed I'm so adored? You'd think I'd be conceited, but I'm not. No. I'm just simple, humble, gorgeous LADOT.
And welcome once again to the Animanicast. We are the only podcast that is dedicated to the animated television series, Animaniacs. And here we talk about the series episode by episode. We talk about all the cultural references and gags that we can find. And of course, in the end, we give each episode a water tower rating. I am Joey, and joining me once again is my brother Nathan.
Say, do you have any licorice?
Uh-oh. Nathan, I think we need to talk about your problem.
Oh, no.
and joining us across the country in Georgia, it's Kelly.
Hi, I'm not sick this week.
We have different things going on this week. Number one is Kelly is no longer sick. And number two, Nathan's right next to me.
Hi, Joey. I'm touching your shoulder.
Please don't touch me.
Okay.
This is Nathan's in town for late Thanksgiving because over at our house we have too many.
We don't believe in Thanksgiving.
We don't believe in doing things on the day they are. So no, our family decided a few years ago, hey, a lot of the people are married now, and so they can't actually be here on Thanksgiving. So let's just do a whole separate Thanksgiving a week later. So. Yeah. So Nathan's in town for Thanksgiving part 2.
Yay.
Electric Boogaloo.
That means twice the food then, right? You have like 2 Thanksgivings?
I would hope so. And all the Thanksgiving decorations are 50% off.
Perfect.
Ooh.
So that's good. Well, today we are going to be talking about episode 96 of Animaniacs. It's Hooray for North Hollywood. Part 2.
Ooh.
That's right. Last week, you'll never believe this. We talked about Hooray for Hollywood, North Hollywood, Part 1.
So they should probably listen to that first.
Probably.
Or they'll be completely lost.
Yeah, you will never understand what's going on in this one.
Well, no, Skippy does the recap.
That's true. That's true. We'll get to that in a second because that recap is hilarious.
And accurate.
And very accurate. Not completely accurate, but yeah, it's still whatever. So before we get into our discussion of all that, I think we should talk about, Nathan, when did this episode first premiere?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, because this is weird. This premiered on Saturday, January 3rd of 1998.
Wow.
Yeah. And you know why that sounds familiar? It's because that's when smoking was banned in all California bars and restaurants.
Okay. I wasn't there at the time. But...
Well, this was the day it was announced that the Wide World of Sports has been canceled by ABC after 37 years. Yeah, so there was a huge,
people were rioting in the streets.
Yeah,
and they couldn't smoke about it.
Exactly. So what were they to do? They had to wait a whole week before the People's Choice Awards, with where the movies Liar Liar and Jerry Maguire would win the favorite comedy and drama, respectively.
I think it's a really good combo when you say Liar Liar and Jerry Maguire.
Right?
You're a liar, liar, Jerry Maguire. You are.
It was also a week before Ramzi Youssef was sentenced to life in prison for planning the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. So,
that guy. Yeah. Okay. So there's some things going around, not necessarily on this day, but the close to it.
That Wide World of Sports. That was today.
That was today. Now I remember.
Yep. It was also the same day as the last episode of Animaniacs. So if you want to hear more things, listen to that last week.
That's true. Well, not the last episode of Animaniacs.
Yeah.
Not the last episode of Animaniacs.
No,
last week's episode
last
of
week's
Animaniacs.
Yeah. Episode 95 aired on the same day as episode 96.
Back to back.
Yes.
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be weird if it was separated by a couple hours?
Yeah.
Come back later after these cartoons.
Stay at 11 p.m. tonight.
11 p.m. tonight. You'll see part 2. I don't think they would have hopefully scheduled it that late, but who knows? Anyway. Well, Nathan, I think, before we actually get into our discussion, there were a couple of things, Nathan, Kelly, that we missed. We forgot to talk about with episode 95. So you know what that means. We have to give our theme song of We Missed Something. And Nathan, hit us with the We Missed Something theme song.
I'm so sorry. We missed the thing that we forgot to say last week.
All right. Thank you. We wrote that.
We don't play that one often.
We don't, but we took a long time writing that one.
How did we know that we missed it? Did someone tell us?
No, I told myself later, and I was like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about this. So here's what we missed. We did not talk about these two things.
Okay.
And I'm sure there's a couple of things.
I'm sure there's more.
There's two major things that I realized we didn't talk about. In episode
because we did talk about Steven Spielberg.
We did. And
that's it.
Yeah, that's all that's important.
We can talk about him again.
No, we will talk about one thing I know that is important to talk about, which is a cameo from one of your favorite previous Animaniacs cartoons, Kelly. And that was right when they're walking into Plotz's office. Does that ringing any bells right there when they bring in one of the screenwriters? It's
from last week.
Yes, it's Mr. Plotz and with Mr. Plotz.
Death. Meatballs or Consequences.
Oh, yes, cool. Death from Meatballs or Consequences.
I thought we mentioned him.
We didn't. I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Play the tape. Nope, it's not there. So,
and if we did mention him, then next week we'll correct ourselves by
saying we did. And the other quick correction, we were talking about the Bill Clinton thing, and he was talking about real estate and everything like that. And we started talking about Whitewater and stuff like that. And he mentioned a spare bedroom in the cartoon. When I first heard that, I thought he was talking about being kicked out of the bedroom because of Monica Lewinsky things or something like that.
Okay.
But he talks about renting out a spare bedroom. So I was like, is that like a Monica Lewinsky joke? It's not. It's actually dealing with a scandal that happened with the Clintons. They rented out the Lincoln bedroom to like people who donated a lot of money to like the Democratic campaign or things like that. So it was kind of like almost like
a scandal.
It was sort of a scandal. It was like, you're, it's like running the White House like a hotel, as people would say, like that. You can't do that. Don't do that. So yeah, that's what the whole joke was about, renting out a spare bedroom. There you go. Things that we missed.
Did we mention Minerva last week?
We didn't. She was in there, wasn't she? Yeah, she was in the background. She's just kind of leaning
against
something.
I thought that's who you were hinting at, the favorite character.
No, we don't need to mention. You don't need to. No, I think the less we mention Minerva, the better. Sometimes, but anyway. Well, let's go ahead and get right into our episode here. Hooray for North Hollywood, Part 2. And Hooray for North Hollywood Part 2 was written once again by Tom Ruger and Randy Rogel, and it was directed by Kirk Tingblad. And, well, Nathan, tell us what happens here in the first part of Hooray for Hollywood, North Hollywood, Part 2.
That's a good question. What does happen? No. So the Warners are deciding to crash a gala. Well, I guess, did we talk about Skippy yet?
No, we haven't talked about Skippy yet. Let's talk about him.
So we start off with a previously on Animaniacs.
Yes.
So last week, I think we could just play a little clip from here for Skippy.
Here it is.
Previously on Animaniacs.
We want to make a movie.
You can't make a movie.
We want to make a movie.
You can't make a movie.
We want to make a movie.
You can't make a movie.
That was pretty much it. For a full half hour.
And yeah, that's pretty much it. We now,
let's talk about that real quick, like quick little segment, because I thought it was so funny. I got like a real Rod Serling Twilight Zone feel from Skippy in that. It just, maybe it's just me, but, I did notice something weird previously on Animaniacs. I would like to contact the continuity, designer or costumer of Animaniacs. Yeah. Because Plotz is in a tux. And I'm like, wait a minute. And I actually went back to episode 95 just to double check. Yeah, he's in his blue suit.
Yeah, okay. Of course.
It's like, okay, whatever. Maybe they just forgot to get in the right costume that day. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. They had
the costume design for a tux, and that's all they had.
But then later
and
he's
then
in
a
his
hobo.
But no, he is in his blue suit in this episode. So I was just like, wait, whatever.
Whatever.
So, anyway, on to the actual new parts.
Yeah, and in reality, the last episode ended where the Warners are going to go to a gala. Yeah. And that's where we pick up here. They're going to meet some celebrities and some high... directors and producers, someone to make their film and to be in their films. So they're going to crash the party. They have to get past Ralph the Guard, which is easy because they just trick him into thinking that they're invited.
My good man! Do we look like the kind of people who waltz into private parties uninvited?
I guess not.
Of course not. We tango!
And then once they're inside, they start flirting with different actresses and causing a muck. They're making fun of directors. Oh, it's despicable. But Plotz sees them quickly and tells Ralph to get them out. While Ralph's trying to wrestle them out, their script goes flying and falls into a salad platter and goes right onto a producer's or director's plate, and he finds the script so funny, he decides to produce their play, or the movie, I should say. I'm thinking of the producers.
Yeah. Springtime for Hitler.
And he decided it's going to be a huge hit, is what they decide it's going to be. So there we go, and Plotz has forbidden them to ever show up on the Warner Brothers lot again. So it's
which is so weird to kick the Warner Brothers and the Warner sister out of Warner Brothers,
right?
Like, that's blasphemy.
I don't understand.
Well, anyway.
I can get it set up and greenlit at any studio in town.
With the Warners? Ha!
Here's the check, Presso, mate. Do we have a deal?
Deal! We start pre-production on Monday, kids. See you then. Too bad, Plotzy. You just let a box office smash slip right through your fingers.
I did?
Ain't showbiz grand?
It's fabulous.
So, yeah, there's a lot of things going on in this first part when it comes to references. I mean, there's tons of celebrities. I did notice a Star Wars reference. Kelly, did you catch it right at the beginning of this gala? Because I didn't catch it the first time I watched the episode.
No.
And Nathan didn't either?
I don't think so.
Watch the episode again. Episode 96. Watch the episode. This episode, the one that we're talking about. When they're going to the Beverly Hills Hotel for this gala, and there's a limo that pulls up, and a guy comes out of the limo, it's the back of Darth Vader. Darth Vader's going to this gala, which
That's
I just
nice.
thought was it's just this big domed head pops out of the limo, which I thought was super cool.
I completely missed that.
I might have seen
Yeah.
it and then just completely.
I was too busy looking for Steven Spielberg.
I know, and he wasn't. I did not see him at this gala, which was weird because, anyway. There's Joel Schumacher was the director they were making fun of.
Yeah, that was a really funny joke.
Yeah,
and he
And
wanted to
very
put Batman in a
accurate.
dress.
who wanted to put Batman in a dress?
You can hear him as.
Oh, is that what he
he's
said?
like, I'm thinking maybe we put Batman in a dress or something.
Oh my
like
gosh, I just heard something about something in a dress, and I was like, what are they talking about dresses for?
Let's put Batman in a dress.
Oh,
Okay?
Mr. Shoemaker, I'm so impressed. I've seen all of your films.
Really? What do you think of them?
I think you should keep making them.
Thanks.
Eventually, one of them is bound to turn out watchable.
But
Batman in a dress.
he's talking to Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy.
Yeah,
That was a bad movie.
that was the first one I like. I Batman Forever.
It was enjoyable.
It was. I remember as kids we enjoyed it for how corny and stupid it
there's
was.
some quotable lines that are really fun. Like
My love machine, baby. Take a ride from my love machine, baby.
Go for a little ride on my love machine, baby.
I love that line. It's just stupid, funny stuff.
Yeah.
Or Val Kilmer's like his riddle at the end. Of I see, but I'm not this, and I'm not.
You're as blind as a bat.
Exactly.
I see without seeing. To me, darkness is as clear as daylight. What am I?
Please! You're as blind as a bat!
Exactly.
So yeah, Batman Forever. It's fun. It's stupid fun stuff. Tommy Lee Jones completely horrible, but everything else just fine. Anyway, Batman and Robin, however, oh man, it took a turn for the worst, and it is just unwatchable.
That Bane.
Everything about that movie, not just Bane. I was so chill, everybody. How many chill puns can I put in this movie?
It was a nice pun.
It was bad.
Yeah. Anyway, so Joel Schumacher's making fun of him, and there is George Clooney. I was trying to figure out who Dot was in the arms of at the very end of this segment, saying, "Ain't show business grand?" And she's in.
That did not look like George Clooney.
Yeah, I could only assume that it's George Clooney, and in fact, at the very end, she's in George Clooney's arms again at the very end with the last song, I believe. So. And it looks more like George Clooney then, but I could only assume that it's George. It's just kind of, with caricatures, it's almost like, I think that's it. You can kind of see
I always
it.
think of that Urkel one where it's just what?
Oh,
got any cheese?
Oh,
Or
you got any cheese? Yeah. Oh, God, that was a great one. Okay, well, anybody
got any cheese?
But yeah, that was, and there's tons of other, Sharon Stone and Clint Eastwood, and a lot of them are actually mentioned by name. But, of course there's Pip and Mr. Director in this.
Yeah, they were waiting to sit on the one woman's lap as well. Is that?
And Mr. Director is definitely not. I know. I guess they were in line, weren't they?
They're in line to sit on Sharon Stone's lap, I think.
Okay, that makes sense, I guess. I was wondering why they were just standing.
I know.
Well,
so creepy.
It's kind of a little weird, and they're way too big to sit on her lap.
Yeah, especially Pip.
Yes. Mr. Director, though, however,
he's tall,
and he's definitely not voiced by Paul Rudd. You can definitely tell. Did you hear that laugh?
Oh, I didn't even hear him say
he was going, and I was like, oh my gosh, that is not Paul Rudd laughing. Anyway, that's and the guy signing, I guess whoever that guy was with the light bulb hat. It's like a parody of Jeffrey Katzenberg, right, Kelly?
Well, the credits call him Katzeneisner.
Okay.
Or Eisenman or something.
Okay.
So, I definitely saw that he was a parody of Jeffrey Katzenberg. Though.
Okay.
But it looked like they wanted to try to put in a little Michael Eisner, too.
Okay. Well, I believe that this movie that the Hooray for North Hollywood was signed he's signed by an executive right there in the gala. Like, here you go. We'll start on whatever. And he has an Australian accent. So you know who that guy must be. Rupert Murdoch. I just did, it's a real quick cameo. There's so many blink and you miss them cameos in this episode. So those are just some of them right there.
They talk about the Titanic in this first little part, which just came out like 97.
Well, I remember when I remember when, and Kelly, you don't remember this too, but when it was Titanic was coming out, that the budget was like, I remember like, oh, it's out of control, and people thought it was going to be like another water world.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then it came out, and people loved it.
And I saw it in the theater.
You saw it twice?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love Titanic.
I saw it twice, but only one time by choice.
And now all the movies are like that expensive,
That's true.
All these blockbusters.
Now Avatar, I guess, is still #1 worldwide. It's so hard to tell. I don't pay attention unless Star Wars is getting up there, and then I start paying attention to box office.
Like, ooh,
is Star Wars going to do it this time?
I don't know if Star Wars is going to get back up there again.
I don't know. Now, you never know. Episode 9, maybe. I don't know. If episode 7 couldn't do it, I don't know of any of them.
Well, I know Solo, performed kind of disappointingly. It still made a lot of money, but
yeah, exactly.
I'm curious to see how episode 9 will do. I imagine all the people that still complain about episode 8 are still going to go see it.
Yeah, but they'll just pay for a different movie.
In fact, they probably bought all the celebration tickets, and now they're pretty much sold out. So I'm not going.
Yeah. We won't be going this year either. It's too bad. We'll be celebrating from YouTube streams. I watched the.
We'll have to try to do a con together, though. Maybe I can get out back to the West one of these days.
Back to the West.
That'd be fun. We'll do a panel.
We should do Galaxy's Edge meetup. That's what we need to do in Disneyland.
Yes.
Okay.
We got it down. We'll get it down.
But it'll open here before it opens there.
No, it opens here I say here, not in Arizona, but closer to us.
The West Coast.
And the West Coast first. It comes summer in Disneyland and then fall in Disney World.
I could have sworn Disney World was fall.
Oh. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'll just delete what we just said, but I'm pretty sure I'm right.
I think we need to look this up.
All right. Well, hang on. We'll look it up later.
Well, if you're hearing it on the podcast,
if we're hearing it, here's watch this. I'll record it 2 different ways, and then we'll keep it the right way.
I think we should just keep it both, anyways.
Okay, here we go. We're keeping both, and you choose. Oh, I was right. Oh, I was wrong.
Perfect.
There we go. All right. So anyway, let's get back to the episode here. Guys, what did you think of this first part right here?
Oh, I thought it was cute. I trying to keep track of all the cameos, and like I said, I was looking for Steven Spielberg because that's what I do. And but I really liked Skippy's recap where he said, "Yeah, that's what it was for a whole 30 minutes.
We want to make a movie,"
and it was just cute.
And Nathan, what about you?
I thought it was enjoyable seeing all the cameos of different, people.
Yeah.
The nice little joke about how producers don't have hearts or something. Is that what?
Oh yeah, it's agents, Hollywood agents.
The Beverly Hills Hotel, where Hollywood's elite are gathered for a big charity fundraiser.
What's the charity?
The Have a Heart Foundation, which is dedicated to implanting actual hearts into the souls of Hollywood agents.
A worthy cause.
A worthy cause.
And Titanic came out December of 2017, which I think I mentioned last week for last week's episode.
Well, it's a good first part. It's always like a Where's Waldo for me when I'm watching these, because I'm always like, one celebrity, I'm always pausing and all that stuff. It's fun. Well, let's go and move on to the next part, the second part, which is actually they get to show the movie.
That's right, folks. Hooray for North Hollywood is the movie sensation of the year.
And America has fallen in love with the Warners.
Here's a clip.
The movie is not really what they described to Plotz in the original pitch meeting. It's gone through some rewrites, I believe. It starts off with the Warners, like an alien abduction thing going on, right?
Yeah, or at least these are the scenes that we see from it. These could be out of order.
These are just highlights from the Siskel and Ebert parody characters.
So they could be, it's basically a trailer for the movie.
Right. So the things that we see include the water tower being a giant wedge of cheese that kind of looks like a Star Destroyer, goes and attacks the water tower, and it kind of looks like Independence Day.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
I suggest we evacuate immediately.
I already evacuated.
Me too. Oops. Twice.
So it's kind of a Star Wars Independence Day mashup.
Yeah, it shoots off in space like Star Wars.
And then they blast off of it kind of like Buck Rogers or something. So it's a weird kind of sci-fi element to this movie. Then there's a part where the Randy Beeman kid, Colin, is walking with Wacko, and it's a Sling Blade reference.
Some people call it a Kaiser roll, but I call it a sling roll. Because I reckon I like to sling all sorts of good foods inside it, then chew it all up.
Which I've never seen Sling Blade. Nope. Either one of you seen Sling Blade?
No.
It was one of those movies. It was funny. It was a Billy Bob Thornton movie that everybody made fun of, and I believe Billy Bob Thornton won an Oscar for it, but I don't think I don't. You won an Oscar, French fried potatoes. I don't know anybody who actually saw the movie, though.
I know some people at work that saw it and they said it was good. I think I can't remember, but
but again, it's like, it's one of those movies that I'm like, everybody knew of it, but nobody saw it, at least around in my circle anyway. One of the movies I did like the parody of was Fargo. They had the two Dot and Yakko, you betcha, looking at this dead body in the snow, but it's not dead. It just, it was sleeping.
Oh, yeah. Gee, he doesn't look too good, does he? Yeah, that's mighty good coffee. Yeah, thanks for that. Oops. Oh, good, yeah. He was just sleeping.
Oh, gee, that's nice.
I think they saved his life. Like, if you're going to sleep in the snow, you might
it's pouring hot coffee.
Freeze to death. Yeah,
it's a good idea to pour coffee on bodies that you find in the snow, just to make sure they're not asleep. And there was an English Patient.
I like that one a lot.
Parody. Have you seen the English Patient?
No,
Nathan?
but the things that Dot was saying, I thought was very funny. It reminded me of doing like a voiceover of like they would do on Whose Line or something, where you're talking over what people are actually saying.
So that was good. And there was a Uma Oprah reference with David Letterman.
They've done that one already, but.
And of course, there's the tragic romance between the beautiful English lady and the man she loves, the handsome rogue of the desert.
Uma Oprah! Uma Oprah!
Yeah, Uma Oprah. Hey, it was a big 90s joke.
Apparently.
It really was.
Did you ever see English Patient, Kelly? Because I know I haven't.
Yes. It's good.
It's good.
It's a beautiful film.
Oh, there you go. And he puts her in a cave and everything?
I'm sorry?
He put her in a cave just like in Animaniacs here?
Yes.
Okay. There you go. See, I felt like this was the longest segment of the different movies.
But yeah, I like how she just like, no, you shouldn't move me.
My spine.
Call 911.
Yeah.
Oh, my darling. Are you all right?
I've broken every bone in my body. Get me to a doctor immediately.
My dear, let me carry you.
No, really. I shouldn't be moved. I need a neurologist and my chiropractor. Please, call 911.
Here, my love. You'll be safe in this wondrous cave.
What, are you nuts? It's cold and damp in here. There are yucky bugs and bats. I hate bats.
Here, these supplies should last you a fortnight. I shan't be long, my love.
Where do you think you're going?
Why, across the desert to get help.
Listen, pal, if you think you're leaving me to rot in some stinking cave in the middle of nowhere, then you've been out in the sun too long.
That was a cute part. And, then they have the thumbs, instead of the toes up or whatever, it was thumbs up their nose. And,
I think that's better, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, then they leave off with one last final segment, which really kind of felt like this may have been its own side song / segment that they just kind of said, yeah, this is part of the movie too. Especially because when it starts up, it's not in that widescreen format, but then the widescreen bars kind of squish onto it. Did you notice that?
No.
Yeah, it's like right at the beginning of this LADOT is what we're talking about. The LADOT song starts up and the bars kind of merge down into the screen to kind of make it look like it's on a movie screen. It's a very weird effect. And
were the other segments in widescreen? I don't.
The other movie segments.
Okay, they were. Okay, I didn't notice.
That's why
I noticed it a lot in LADOT.
I forgot one more. I know there's somebody out there going, "Hey, you forgot one thing." The Jerry Maguire.
Show me the money.
Show me the money. Man, it was just a '90s hullabaloo.
And that was best drama. So favorite drama, People's Choice, Jerry Maguire.
There was some song. Yeah. I guess it was from Jerry Maguire, that they played or edit on the radio that actually had the lines from the movie in the song. And now I can't remember what song it was, but they played it all the time. That was like one of the biggest movies that year, and I can't remember
really
this
was. One. I mean, hey, and started Cuba Gooding Jr.'s career.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Did it really? I thought he was in stuff before.
He was, but this was like his main, like, look at him. I mean, he won an Oscar for it. So, and then he had his famous Oscar speech of freaking out. And then he made Snow Dogs. So, Cuba Gooding.
He does whatever he wants now.
Exactly. So anyway. So, yeah, the song LADOT, Dot sees... LADOT written on a bus, and she thinks, oh my gosh, this is so fantastic. Everybody, it's me, I'm in LA, and everybody wants my autograph. She sings a song about it, how everyone loves her. And in fact, she gets on this bus. This bus has
famous people,
a lot of famous people on it. Sharon Stone, Meryl Streep, Ace Ventura / Jim Carrey on it, Art Carney. Oh, and Cher's in there. Anyway.
Don't forget when they won the Oscar.
Oh yeah, that's right. They after the song and everything, they win the Schlotzker. Yeah, the Schlotzker at the very end.
But this is significant because Clint Eastwood presents the award. Now, in 1994, Clint Eastwood also presented an actual Oscar during this telecast for Best Director.
And that went to Francis
Steven.
Ford.
Don't mess with me. It's Steven Spielberg. That's when Steven won his first Oscar.
Oh wow!
For Schindler's List,
it
which
really
actually it's the 25th anniversary, and so they're re-releasing it next week.
Wow, Schindler's List. That is a film that I have not seen since it came out. It's such a powerful film.
Oh, I could beat you on that. I have not seen it.
You haven't seen it at
no,
all?
I haven't seen it at all, yeah.
Wow, okay,
You haven't seen Schindler's List?
I haven't seen it since it's been released.
You were making out during Schindler's
even
List?
before that, yeah.
Scandalous. It's worth watching. I mean, it's tough to watch, really.
Yeah,
but it's a very well done film.
Absolutely. I mean, it was the movie that, I mean, I know that Spielberg, I believe he was quoted later talking about Indiana Jones films, that he couldn't make any more Indiana Jones films with Nazis in them because they were just cartoon Nazis, he couldn't do that, that other stuff again. It really was a changing moment for him as a filmmaker as well with that movie.
And so, the Schlotzker for Best Picture of the Year goes to, all right, hooray for North Hollywood, the Warners.
I made a big, big mistake.
Kids WB will be right back.
Yup, after these messages.
And we hope that you'll be back too.
The kids of the 70s and 80s are all grown up, but the good times of childhood don't have to end.
Our generation can share the fun and fandom of our youth with the next generation and bring the past into the future.
And wrap it all up to make a fantastic present.
Join Jedi Schwa and Chef's Bazaar every Monday morning to get your work week started by reminiscing about the past and exploring the future with your earbuds on Techno Retro Dads.
So find us on iTunes, Facebook, Twitter, or on RetroZap.com. Part of the RetroZap Network.
Hey, Robert, why should people listen to another retro gaming podcast?
You mean our cast, David? We do have to keep this short, you know.
Yes, well, I guess we should start with the fact we celebrate old school video games.
And we have awesome guests and game giveaways. Don't forget that.
Plus our game show and your favorite segment, Random Select.
Don't remind me. Are we done yet?
Listen to Artcast, another retro gaming podcast, part of RetroZap.com.
Finally, back to my beer.
Hello, genius people! Yakko Warner here. The only show we listen to in the water tower is the Animanicast. I bet you can't guess why. Good night, everybody!
I guess the main thing to mention with LADOT is it used to originally had a whole other composition that Randy Rogel put together.
Really?
And it was called LADOT. And for Animaniacs Live, he actually plays both versions of it. He plays the first version of I am LADOT and you are not, and all this. It's a very kind of hip and, I like it a lot, but he turned it into Tom Ruger, and Tom did not like it. Oh. So he rewrote it to LADOT, and that's the version we have today. But it's a really cool thing to check out for Animaniacs Live, just to hear both of them together, both of which are really awesome songs in my opinion. And
which one's better though?
I kind of like the first LADOT song, but I do like LADOT, but I don't know. I'm going to play a clip right now of when I went and saw Animaniacs Live and recorded some of it. So here it is.
I'm ready for Lord, and two tap bears that I humbly so cherished and adored. It's my reward for being honest and so shy. It's true, I am the dots, and you are not. We're all over you're all alone with me, it really guilty of the sign of us. But every one of us, see that they're all making LADOT stands for Los Angeles Department of Transportation. Yeah. Never mind. Well, I would have expected for a sign to be erected, saying LADOT. I am some more like that. I was more than one.
And you can check out the full video, by the way, on our YouTube channel. So if you're interested in checking out the other performances, or at least clips of them, check it out there. All right. Well, that pretty much does it for the second part. So we wrap it all up. Plotz gets fired because, the Warner's got a Schlotzker, and the end of segment 2, right?
I think so.
So segment 3, turn it over to you, Kelly. What happens at the end?
Well, Plotz, like you said, gets fired, and the Warners are literally sitting on a pile of money because they earned so much money after becoming so famous, and they basically can do whatever they want to, but they miss messing with Plotz, and they start reminiscing about how he would kick them out and yell at them, and they show what has happened to Plotz. He's shivering on the street corner with a sign that says we'll produce for food.
Yeah.
And he's ragged and cold and hungry, and then a van that says Acme comes and pulls up, and you don't really see what happens, but you kind of guess that he's being kidnapped and resisting being put in the van, and then the van squeals off.
all alone on New Year's Eve. What an arrogant, pig-headed fool I've been. Huh? Hey, what do you want? No! Hey, where are you taking me? Help!
And then he's at this party with a whole bunch of people circled around him, and he's a little confused and finds out that the new owners of the company have hired him back. And the Warners pop out of a cake, and they had used all their money that they earned to buy stocks, and so now they're majority shareholders in Warner Brothers, and so they've given him back his job.
Surprise! Plotz, welcome back to the studio, old pal.
But I don't work here anymore, remember? You fired me.
I know, but now we're hiring you back.
Really?
Yep, it was a decision made by our company's majority shareholders.
Guess who?
The Warners?
That's right, Plotzy. We spent all the money we made from our movie to buy stock.
So now we're in control of the company.
And we're reappointing you as head of the studio.
I'm so touched, I don't know what to say.
Say you'll take back your job.
I'll take back my job.
Say you'll never leave again.
I'll never leave again.
Say everyone gets a big fat raise.
Everyone gets a big... Hey.
Say it.
Everyone gets a big fat raise.
And finally, say, now go away. You're driving me crazy.
Now go away. You're driving me crazy.
Yes, Mr. Plotz is back.
And then they realize it's like 3 minutes to midnight, and so then they have this big song about Happy New Year's.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and everybody cheer? We've managed somehow, friends, to make it through another year.
Let's stay up late, let's celebrate, and then count down from 10. 'Cause tomorrow when we wake up, guys, the whole thing starts again. It's New Year's Eve and I'm a beaut, dressed up in my tuxedo suit. Got a shirt and vest that are starched and pressed like new. I do, and I'm loving the view.
'Cause it's New Year's Eve and I'm looking swell with a white carnation in my lapel. Got a coat and tie and I can't deny it's true.
It's New Year's Eve and I do believe I'll hit all of the restaurants in sight. The parties at Sardi's and Old Guy Lombardi's doing the countdown tonight.
Well, it's New Year's Eve, let the party rock. Let's dance, and then when it's 12 o'clock, we'll sing them tunes and we'll pop balloons with a cheer.
Hear, hear! Bring out the confetti, we're ready. Hey, Happy New Year!
And there's so many cameos. Cher, I think Clint Eastwood's back.
I saw Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah, and it seemed like I saw several members of the cast of Friends, and tons of people who I'm forgetting a bunch right now. I did not see Steven Spielberg. I did see a guy in a baseball cap and glasses, but he only looked like he had a little bit of a beard and not an actual beard. So I don't think that was Steven, but I kind of wanted it to be. But no, I don't think it was. And so I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, he gets reinstated, and, well, of course, at the very end, they write a sequel.
Yeah, they fades to black.
Fade out. The end. Done.
Our first sequel.
Son of Hooray for North Hollywood.
So now what do we do?
I'm glad you asked that question.
We're on our way to go see Mr. Plotz. 'Cause he's the one in charge who calls the shots.
And it's funny because I was watching this episode with some of my students at lunch today, and as soon as they saw the fade to black, one person started clapping like the end, and then there's an epilogue.
Yeah, where they're typing fades to black, the end, and then it said finish our first sequel. Now we're on our way to take it to Mr. Plotz.
And they sang a reprise of
last week's, or 95,
which
95.
Doesn't make any sense anymore that they say he's the guy who calls all the shots, because they're majority holders and they can tell him what to do, but they ignore that.
Yeah. See, well, I have a theory that this was all their sequel was all about Mr. Plotz being fired, and getting rehired by the Warners.
Oh,
And
so it's never happened?
that part of it. I mean,
it was. Oh, wait a minute. So I see what's going on. Wait. So the sequel was about the movie being successful?
Sure.
The
yeah.
movie that never happened?
Who knows? All we know is that it fades
Some
to black, and
Inception
they wrote.
stuff going on.
I know. This
They
is
write-
Inception.
They write fades to black in the script, so it's like, well, that was clearly part of their script of Hooray for Hollywood Part 2 or whatever. So
The New Year's Eve party.
And then I got to take it to Mr. Plotz to be like, oh, great, so I get fired.
Well, maybe the sequel is like it's a little bit of autobiographical.
It could be yeah, that's true.
Perhaps
it's like then we sing LADOT, and then we sing.
The sequel is about how we made the first movie. It's like a documentary / biopic.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Interesting theory, Nathan. Not sure that's correct.
Well, I don't know if it's canon that they own the company now either.
That's true.
Like
it's like a lot of things we just kind of push to the side. Well, there we go. That is our episode. That's our whole thing right there for the Hooray for North Hollywood Part 1 and 2. And let's go ahead, I suppose, unless you guys have any last moments you guys want to talk about that you really liked.
Ooh.
Anything? The whole thing.
The dot says www ... That's not a website.
Yeah.
You need a gov or something. If you do ... gov, then you take it to transportation.
I think they cut that part out of the Animaniacs Live, probably for that reason that people are more web savvy now, and they go, "That's not a web address."
I don't think they really meant for people to think it was a web address.
I don't know. But this is back in the day of 56K modems, so I don't know.
Yeah, people were like, yeah, www ... Just, or ellipses, I guess.
Yeah. You have to write ... I don't know. It's a country symbol of ... for Dotsultania.
Good.
Okay, so Kelly, any other things you'd like to mention for this the episode in general before we get to our water tower rating?
Nothing additional that I can think of.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get right to it. All right. Out of 5 water towers, how many would you give this episode? Kelly, let's start with you.
I will give it 3. It automatically gets a lower score because of last week because of no Spielberg.
Mm-hmm.
So, priorities. And I didn't like the songs as much.
Mm-hmm.
They were still great. Really catchy songs. I didn't like them as much. And so yeah, I'll vote it a little bit lower than last week's, but overall still a good episode.
Yeah. Nathan, what do you think?
Oh boy. I'll say 2.5. I gave last week's 2.5. I'll give this one as well 2.5.
Wow.
So together, that's like 5 water towers out of 10 water towers.
Out of 10.
It just as a standalone episode. Again, you're like, we can't just watch just this one episode, But
I disagree. I showed it to students in my class today, at lunchtime at least, and they thought it was fine, and they followed the whole thing, and they got it.
Well, then you also lose out on you get more of a plot in this one, but there's also no good songs or really great jokes or anything. There's nothing that really carries the episode. So I'm sticking my 2.5.
All right. Well, I'm going to give it 3.5. I think I gave last week's a 4. I'll give this one a little bit lower, but I still liked it. The songs, they're not as good in the second half, but I still liked it, and it had lots of. I like the pop culture stuff, even though it does date it a little bit. But the other part of me says, "Well, that's cool because I do like it when things are dated a little bit. I like watching old Warner Brothers cartoons from the 30s and 40s and seeing these stars that I have no idea who they are, and then doing a little bit of Turner Classic Movie watching." And then go, hey, that was a guy from that cartoon.
I can relate to that, but for me, it was when I would watch the Muppet Show.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't know who these people are. And I mean, sometimes I did, but sometimes I did not. And then I'd see them later in something else. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I feel like the episode should have been recut, almost like first and second. I feel like the first episode should have ended with them getting the movie, and the second one should have started with them being successful with the movie and Plotz dealing with that. Like,
so
you would have had to cut some songs, but you could have put those in the second part, and that way you have better songs in the second part.
I see. All right.
And you have an actual like beginning, middle, and end in the first part, where they end like they get their thing, and then
okay, all right.
That would be that, and then I would give this a higher score. But yeah,
well, we asked some of the folks over on our Discord app, which is of course discord.animanicast.com, what their thoughts were on Hooray for North Hollywood's part 1s and 2s. You can tell it's towards the end of the episode because I can't speak anymore. And William said, I'm kind of with Nathan on this. I like the songs by themselves and that back and forth between Yakko and Plotz. But the rest of this, nope. I feel like this is wasted potential. The Warners wanting to make a movie is such a great idea, and it could have been cool to see how they make their movie, but I'm not interested in the story as it should be, or as I should be. I think he's mostly talking about the first part there, but some of it, goes into this as well. I think, the making of the movie would have been if they had originally gone for like an actual full blown movie, like feature length, like 90 minutes.
Yeah, then you have
60 to 90 minutes. You could have shown like the making of the film and then the release of the film as a 3-part. But because you kind of have this like 2-partish kind of story, it does feel like a little bit is missing, I suppose. Anyway, I still like it.
Wasn't this originally meant to be a movie or no?
Yes, I believe in some of the notes that's what
in the original like
is.
concept, of it. But I think quickly it was not.
Yeah. Well, we'll be talking about Wacko's Wish in the next few weeks, and if things go as planned, we have some. We can't really say what they are going on right now, but we have some big announcements coming up soon. If things go as planned, so. We have some good, exciting stuff coming up, but we also want to know what we should talk about in the future when it comes to Animaniacs.
Steven Spielberg.
Other than Steven Spielberg, of course, as well. That goes without saying. But we have.
I know, but I still have to say it.
Well, we have other Animaniacs adjacent properties, I guess we could say. We have Pinky and the Brain, Freakazoid, and Tiny Toon Adventures. Which one of those things should we talk about? Should we talk about one of them or combination thereof? If you go over to survey.animanicast.com, you can let us know, and we'll be releasing those results shortly and let you know what we're going to be doing. In the meantime, though, December is going to be a really cool month of
Christmas.
Christmas is coming up, and we have a special and Kelly's birthday. That's right. And then there's other things with the show going on as well that I'm really excited that hopefully we'll be able to do as well. So thank you.
Steven Spielberg also has a December birthday.
Oh, hey.
Oh, we still need to get him on the show. Jinx. Now Joey can't talk for the rest of the show till someone says Joey's name. Kelly, don't say Joey.
Okay, I already did it right there.
Oh, dang it. 3 times. Third time he heard it.
Okay. Well, anyway. Well, let's go and get to our contact information. Nathan, where can people reach you online?
I'm on Twitter, Joey. DjangoFT, that's me.
And Kelly, what about you?
I am also on Twitter at Yoda Princess, YODAPRNCSS, or email me, Kelly at BigShinyRobot.com.
And as for the Animanicast, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, and of course you can always reach us over at the Discord group, which is discord.animanicast.com. We always appreciate new reviews on iTunes, and Ethan's pointing at the cord on his mic, and it's not Discord.
Discord?
No, not that cord.
Discord?
Not Discord. That cord.
Discord.
Okay, so anyway, we always appreciate reviews. Maybe not of today's episode, but if you go over to Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star positive review. We love it so much, and we'll make sure to read it on the air. And head on over to retrozap.com, where you can check out our archives as well as all the archives from other RetroZap podcasts, such as Starship Sabers and Scoundrels, Brews and Blasters, Kanata's Castle. If you like video games, check out the ArgCast. If you like movies, check out the Deucecast. There's also tons of other things about Star Trek, comics, and all this other stuff going on for every day. Articles going on RetroZap every day, so check it out over at retrozap.com. Well, that'll do it for this week. So for Nathan and Kelly, this is Joey saying, good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
This podcast is not endorsed by Warner Brothers or Amblin Entertainment and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Animaniacs, the Warner Brothers logo, all names, pictures, and sounds of the Animaniacs characters or any other Animaniacs-related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Warner Brothers, Amblin Entertainment, or their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of the Animanicast unless otherwise indicated.
Hello, I'm Wacko, and I love licorice.
Hi, Wacko.
Jam-a-lot, Jam-a-lot, I like to shoot the basketball.
Shoot the basketball in Jam-a-lot, yes, in Jam-a-lot.
The hero's really tall.
The hero's really tall.
I laughed till I cried.
I cried till I laughed.
We laughed and cried at the same time.
I ate too much licorice and got sick.